You're calling from a 928 area code. Who are you? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
928, are you there?
Yes.
Hello, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, my name is Joseph, calling from Navajo Nation.
Hey, Joseph, how are you? Thanks for calling.
Hey, first-time caller, been a Patreon supporter for almost a year.
Oh, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and on the Michael Brooks show.
Thank you very much.
So, yeah, I just wanted to call in and say, I like your guys' show.
Thank you.
And I also did appreciate you guys talking about the, how the North Dakota Republicans are basically trying to purge, Native Americans from voting there.
Yep, absolutely.
With the P.O. box thing, because out here it's kind of like a similar story. Growing up on the reservation, we don't have any physical addresses at all, no street addresses. I don't know anyone who has one, so we use P.O. boxes as well. So that is concerning. And also just wanted to voice this because you don't really see it mentioned very often, but basically it's kind of been concerning ever since the Kavanaugh confirmation because of his, history with Alaskan Natives.
Mm-hmm.
And we're already kind of starting to see the bad shit happening. Like with that, that voter ID thing that happened in North Dakota. But there's also the, currently there is the Indian Child Welfare Act. It's one of the most important pieces of legislation for American Indians in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And it regards, family protections and adoptions for Native children in the U.S. Recently, it was struck down by a federal judge in Texas, and as the result, a bunch of tribes like the Cherokee and Oneida are trying to challenge it. So that means it might go to the Supreme Court, a Supreme Court where, Kavanaugh will be the swing vote on.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yep. And again, everything they do is self-reinforcing, right? You write a piece of legislation that targets the Native American community. You disenfranchise Native American voters. Then you get people like Kavanaugh who attack voting rights on the court. Then that helps win more elections. See, we got to adopt the left-wing version of thinking structurally like that. And the triangulating, Bill Clinton, move to the right, take corporate money is not going to work strategically. And then conversely, the moralistic, people just need to vote for, Jill Stein, it's not going to work. They have a plan, they have a strategy, and we need to think in those terms with regards to elections, with regards to the courts, and with regards to the self-reinforcing decisions. I mean, that was one of the things that, made card checks so important. It was great. It was vital for labor unions, which would make a big dent in fighting inequality and helping workers. And then it would also give more money to Democrats and also make union people more excited to vote. And it would just be self-reinforcing. And then you would get more good judges, which would protect labor rights. Like, that's why you need to do it. And of course, in that case, when they didn't do it back then, because obviously a lot of Democrats are absolutely, in that case, that was about them being compromised by corporate money for sure.
Yeah, because it's, like I said, it does feel like we're in dark times right now.
Yeah.
And I did appreciate how you guys and, you and Sam were talking about how important the courts are, because for Native Americans, the federal courts are very, very important. It's one of those weird cases where your best and worst friend is the federal government, because it is their responsibility to keep a lot of our tribal sovereignty and rights intact. Mm-hmm. And in this case, this guy, I didn't catch his name, but this judge in Texas, he just basically just kind of threw it into a turbine. So now I guess we just have to wait and see, because I usually follow these cases because the ICWA, it's not something that's brought up. Well, it's brought up quite frequently, especially with adoptions in states like Oklahoma and South Dakota, where American Indians make up a very small percentage of the population. In South Dakota, I think it was like less than 10%, but Native children there make up almost 50% of the kids in the protection and adoption agencies. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it is pretty important. And I just want to say I'm glad that you guys talked about how important the federal courts are, and you are right. There is no structure for it because there is no left-wing equivalent of the Federalist Society.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
Like
exactly. Yep.
Like it was brought up by Sam, and that we have a lot of left-wingers saying pack the courts, but like him, I was wondering with who, because unfortunately the structure just isn't there, and I'm not a professional. I don't really follow it. I don't really follow this thing very closely, and not a lot of other people do. But otherwise, yeah, I just wanted to air that out. And thanks. I think you guys' show's great.
I really appreciate it, Joseph. Hopefully hear from you again soon. Thanks so much.